What's happening, guys? Thank you so much for tuning in. All right, so Habs lose to the San Jose Sharks, the last place San Jose Sharks. And we're also going to talk about the Sean Monahan news that has come out directly from Darren Dreger on Insider Trading on TSN, mentioning that Sean Monahan is likely one of the first trade chips that's going to be moved from the Montreal Canadiens before the deadline. Not only is he a top trade chip, he's one of the first pieces he believes that will be moved. And there are some teams that are going to be definitely interested in his services come the playoffs. So we're going to talk about the Sharks, Sean Monahan, and then we'll see where the rest of the video goes, because this game here against the San Jose Sharks last night was a disappointment for sure from the Canadian side of things, coming off a back-to-back with the Philadelphia Flyers the night before, where the Canadiens lost in a shootout, and they come back to the Bell Center the night after, expecting to hopefully beat a team that frankly hasn't won in almost a month. As of today, it would be a month that the San Jose Sharks won their previous game before this one on December 12th. So San Jose coming into this game having lost 12 in a row, and shows the Canadiens why you don't take a team lightly. And I'm not saying that Canadiens necessarily did that, but the San Jose Sharks definitely executed a lot better than the Canadiens did. And we'll talk about Martin St. Louis comments. That's actually the other theme of this video, is his post-game comments. So Sharks, St. Louis comments, and Sean Monahan we're going to talk about in this game. So Raphael Harvey Pinard, Raphael Harvey Bedard, shout out to my buddy Matt. You all know him. Y'all love him. He came back in this game. That was his first taste of action in several weeks, coming back from injury here, and it was good to see him back in the lineup. Frankly, he played on a line with Sean Monahan and Jesse Ullinen, and I thought that line looked more than okay to start things off. And despite the Canadiens going down 1-0, actually 2-0. In the first period against the Sharks, I thought still that the Canadiens were, and I didn't like the fact that they went down in the game, by the way, but I definitely didn't expect them to remain down. And they got close near the end of the game, of course, with Mike Matheson, or Josh Anderson's late goal, I should say. But it's definitely disappointing to see the Canadiens not get a point. But here is where I'm going to quickly interject Martin St. Louis post-game comments. And he said that even if the Canadiens would have come back and won, that wouldn't have been a sign of progress for this team. That's a pretty interesting quote. Even if the Canadiens would have beat San Jose, come back, tied the game, won it in overtime, Caulfield gets a snipe, and everyone goes home happy. Even Marty St. Louis himself, having a better vision for where the team is at, how they've been playing lately, said himself that wouldn't have been progress. That still wouldn't have been progress. Well, what does that mean? Well, the Canadiens come off of a very, very big win where Samuel Montembeault steals the show last Saturday night against the New York Rangers at home, and then the Canadiens hit the road and get a point in Philly, and then they come back and they have a bit of a stinker here against the last place San Jose Sharks. So what does that mean? Well, it means that the Canadiens are still not playing at the level that they're capable of on a nightly basis. And the consistency, St. Louis said, is still what they have not been able to achieve this season so far, at least at certain points they have, maybe in terms of how they're playing, how well they've played at times. And we've been encouraged, and we're like, oh, okay, well, they're only 4 or 5 points out of a wild card spot, and it's almost halfway through the season. Well, now it's at the 41 game mark, and the Canadiens are now 7 points out of a wild card spot. No, we're not focused on making the playoffs, but we are focused on progress and getting closer to them, so that there's signs of hope going into next season. This being with all the injuries, right? So it was proposed to Marty in the post game about Doc, about Newhook, about Dvorak, about Pearson, and that's only 4 guys out now because Harvey Pinard's back. But there's still no excuses, and you just throw those aside in terms of the players that are injured. But that being said, the Canadiens would likely have a better record if some of those guys were still here, namely Kirby Dach. As we know, we've missed him from game 2 of the season. We can't stop talking about how we miss him every time losses like these happen. That's why it gets highlighted, it seems, when the Canadiens put up a performance that you don't expect them to do. And, Luke Kunin gets the goal. And frankly, this was a Jaden Struble giveaway where he's a rookie. These things are going to happen. But I mean, I pointed out to you guys last game. If you didn't watch my last video, I said the exact same thing. Jake Evans and Mitchell Stevens committed the exact same type of giveaway. This one from Jaden Struble was a bit more blatant because it was like within feet of the front of his net where he put the puck out there, and Luke Kunin capitalized on it for his 6th goal of the season. But Jaden Struble then played with some fire after he played angry, and he got the Bell Center on their feet when he laid a nice hit within minutes of allowing that defensive lapse to create that goal for San Jose. So that was encouraging from his side of things to at least recover, show some emotion, show that he cared, and show that he was mad at himself, obviously, for that mistake, which cost them. And then Fabian Zetterlund gets a goal assisted by Philip Sedina and Thomas Hertl. That's 17:25 into the first period. The Habs are about to go into the intermission down 2-0, and thankfully Brendan Gallagher answers for the Canadiens on a nice shot right in the slot, assisted by Mike Matheson and David Savard, where it gave the Canadiens life, and they certainly responded after that second goal, going in intermission 2-1, and then in the second period, things didn't get much better for the Canadiens at all because Nikita, this was actually his first goal of the season. I can't pronounce it that well. Okotiuk. I thought it was the best. That was the best I could do right there. But he's a defenseman, and if you watch that goal, which some of you did, he starts the play at the top of the left point, and he just makes his way right down to the goal mouth and snipes it short side on Sam Montembeault, assisted by Mikael Granlund and William Eklund. My gosh, like that goal was too easy. Nobody picks him up. He just smoothly strides in and puts that puck past Sam Montembeault. And then the Canadiens at 16:26 of the third period get within one, and Josh Anderson tips or deflects, I should say. It goes off of him and from the Mike Matheson point shot. And then Cole Caulfield, who had 7 shots in this game, had several opportunities to try and tie it himself. Juraj Slafkovsky. Slav had a couple of bullets that he put on net to try to tie this game. It was nice to see him on the ice at the end of this game to try to tie it. But some complaining that Mike Matheson wasn't passing him the puck often enough or whatever. And still at the end of the day, Slav still got some shots off, but he didn't hit the net. He's got, the same issue that Cole Caulfield does half the time. He can't hit the net, it seems, right? Even though Cole did register 7 shots on net in this game. But still some opportunities in this game. And also Josh Anderson, how many more breakaways is he going to get and not convert on? Josh has to convert on a breakaway. I know he converted on the deflection goal, but he's got to convert on some of those breakaways, man, because he's still getting them. Every other games, it seems, Josh Anderson is getting a breakaway, so he needs to bury one. That's a fact. So the Canadiens lose this game. They're going to go and host the Edmonton Oilers on Saturday, and they're going to show up for that game. But the way that their game has been trending, you hope that it doesn't get exposed too much. They had a great performance against the Rangers last Saturday, but they got to have an even greater performance against the Edmonton Oilers, who are on a winning streak, looking to set a franchise record for a win streak. Remember how badly they started off? Look how good they've bounced back. That's what happens when you have superstar talent on your team. Greatest player in the world doesn't hurt. Sean Monahan. All right. So Darren Dreger, like I mentioned, Sean Monahan is more than likely to be dealt at the trade deadline. This is good news for the Canadiens because they'll actually try to be able to retrieve some assets from a trade from Sean Monahan that they weren't able to do last year when he went down with injury and wasn't able to play. The Canadiens re-signed him for $1.98 million at the beginning of this season. And so far, he's having a pretty decent season for himself, right? So with that said, it's hopefully going to be a return coming from either Colorado, Edmonton, Vancouver have been cited as some of the teams that may have interest in Sean Monahan's services. I think those teams make a lot of sense, especially, after losing Nazem Kadri years ago for the Colorado Avalanche, bringing in a veteran guy like Sean Monahan, who could be your second or third line center. I mean, that's pretty good depth if you have him in that position, right? So in the Vancouver instance, they're playing absolutely amazing. Second overall in the NHL right now. What a bounce back season for the Vancouver Canucks. So adding somebody like Sean Monahan again with not having to pay a lot of salary, whoever takes him on is not going to have to pay much more of his salary. And he will be a rental for now. He will be an unrestricted free agent at the end of this season. But the Canadiens are going to be seeking at least a first-round pick and a prospect, or a top-end prospect and a second-round pick, something like that. But I know that Kent Hughes is going to be looking for the best possible deal to make the Canadiens better for the future with a Sean Monahan deal. And this is what apparently Kent Hughes promised Sean Monahan, according to Darren Dreger, is that, when it got to this point of the season where the Canadiens were maybe out of it, not going to be able to make the playoffs, which was expected anyway, he was going to get another opportunity to go to a contender and try to win himself a Stanley Cup. At 29 years of age, Sean Monahan has been a very serviceable, very skilled, very consistent centerpiece or even forward. He can also play the wing. he can also play the wing as well, right? So you've got versatility in Sean Monahan's game. So a team is definitely going to like that. They're definitely going to have to pay for it. They're definitely going to want to pay for it because he's the kind of player that can help you on a Stanley Cup run. So I'm expecting that from Sean Monahan and the Canadiens. He'll be one of the first trade chips to fall. I'd be more than happy if it happened before the trade deadline day because somebody's going to have to step up and do it. It's not going to be a last minute trade for Sean Monahan. I don't see it happening on deadline day. I see it happening before. In my opinion, that's what I believe is going to happen. So let's see how the Canadiens bounce back against the Edmonton Oilers here, and we got to see them continue to make progress as a team, as a unit. And these last couple of games were not great progress. A lot of shots on net, 35 shots on net for Sam Montembeault. Still comes out of the game with what was it, a 9? Still came out with what, a 919 save percentage. Let's just double check for Sam Montembeault's sake because why not? And Mackenzie Blackwood deserves a shout out, by the way. He played excellent in this game against the Canadiens. So he had a 943 save percentage against the Habs, stopping 33 shots in that game. And Sam Montembeault ended up coming away with a 914 save percentage despite giving up 3 goals, which means Sammy still made 32 saves. The Canadiens are still defensively giving up too much. And that's an area Marty St. Louis clearly knows he wants to try to help clear up for the Canadiens if they're going to continue to make any kind of progress as a team in this rebuild here. Thank you for watching, guys. Hit like and subscribe. Coming up on 5,000 subscribers, as I keep mentioning. So thank you so much for the support. If you do, it is appreciated. Thanks, guys. See you soon.